Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dimitri and we are driving around in my Haval H6, taking advantage of this lovely wireless microphone. Today, funnily enough, I'm going to be talking to you not about Haval H6, I'm going to be talking to you about other cars that I've test driven recently. Specifically, I am going to talk to you about GWM Ora. Ora is an electric vehicle that is just very fresh to the market, is available at Suttons Homebush, my good friends there. Probably the best Haval and Tank and Ora dealership in Sydney region. They are not paying me, they're just my good friends, they're good people, very pleasant to deal with. They're on Parramatta Road, so go check them out. They have Ora in stock and I've test driven it today on this lovely weekend. Okay, so look, I'm not in Ora anymore and I didn't have my contraption for recording while I was driving Ora, so perhaps it will feel a little detached, but I will overlay some of the video that I took earlier of Ora for you here to make it a little more factual and give you some elements of these early first impressions. It was a test drive. I've test driven the car, my wife has test driven the car, we exchanged opinions, so I'm here to tell you what we have learned and my early impressions. Now, Ora is an electric vehicle. I will not pretend to know all the specifications. If you're seriously interested, I invite you to GWM Haval Australia website that will give you all the information there on specifications of the car. In fact, spoiler alert, my wife and I are going to be reviewing it later for ourselves because it is an interesting vehicle. It's a very interesting vehicle. There are lots of EVs right now emerging on the road, and I would have to say that SAIC Motor MG presence here in Australia, MG is probably paving the way for value for money electric vehicles across Australia right now, for better or for worse. They are paving the way. How? Well, they're making EVs financially available and accessible for kind of middle class people, let's call us that. People who have maybe 40,000-50,000 to spend on an electric vehicle, but we don't have extortionist crazy amounts of money, 70, 80, 90 grand to put something on Ioniq 5 of Kia or something like those electric vehicles. That's kind of unnecessary. Like, spoiler alert, my impression after test driving Ora and just researching a little bit about MG4 that we're gonna hopefully take a closer look at as soon as it's on the ground in Sydney, but I haven't seen. I've driven past MG dealership today and they did not have MG4 in stock for me to take a look at, but Ora is here and it is lovely. It is lovely. I know I'm such a Jeep driver. I'm interested in Tank 300 and all that stuff. So you would be like, Dimitri, what's up with you, mate? Why are you even talking about EVs? Because it is surprisingly awesome. It is surprisingly awesome. What's awesome about it? Well, I will not again pretend to know about all the government, New South Wales at least, government incentives that we have in Australia here that are incentivizing people to buy EVs. Clearly because the government is investing into the EV kind of electric vehicle infrastructure going forward. So they're incentivizing also people to get off the petrol a little bit and start looking at electric vehicles. It's probably safe to say that there will be a ton more electric vehicles in 10 years time, right? Right now we already see plenty of them, but there is an incentivization, financial benefit to buying an electric vehicles. That's the first thing why even I am sort of like, my wife is like, oh, I haven't thought about an EV, maybe I should be thinking about it as my next car. There you go. Completely off the cuff, completely sort of like, we were not incentivized. No one is paying us to say this, but that is my honest impression. And I thought, you know what? Today I've been to Suttons, I took a look at Ora. I'm going to record this video today while the impressions are fresh. What else I liked? You know what? I liked the look of outside and I liked the look of inside. Is Ora anything close to my style with tats and skulls and stuff? No, it's not. However, first of all, it's close to my wife's style because she's very much an MG, well, yes, she's an MG driver, but she's very much a Mini Cooper kind of fan. And she had that kind, it probably is so close to her heart, you know, the one that she had to sell a few years ago. she loves that retro look. And Ora, as opposed to MG4, from what I've seen from the photos, of course remains to be seen, yada yada, all those disclaimers out of the way. I will validate this for you. But Ora feels kinda, how should I say it? It feels very retro in a good way. It feels like it has those chromy elements that remind you of classic design elements of Mini Cooper, especially inside. Outside, it reminds you of Mini Cooper as well, with the curved elements of the body. It is really awesome, especially when you look at it in real life. On pictures on the website, I had a video a while ago, especially my regulars would have seen, where I was a bit skeptical and sort of a little bit unkind to Ora's design. I kind of expressed an opinion that it's for a very specific niche market and stuff like that. Definitely not for me. Look, I still think that it's probably not for me, but I really enjoyed sitting in it. I really enjoyed driving it. I'm honest with you here, okay? What else stood out to me in this very quick test drive and quick introduction to Ora? It's a small vehicle. It's definitely for city driving. It seems to have enough of the acceleration to drive you in the city traffic kind of Sydney. It doesn't strike me as a powerful little thing. It doesn't strike me as something that would be super zippy or that would just blast along the highway, even though I did not test it in that environment. Maybe it has that potential in it once it revs up a bit in its electric motors and whatever. But it has okay acceleration. It has enough space inside for me not to feel claustrophobic. I hate being in tight, like small spaces with narrow roofs and stuff like this. It didn't have that feeling, even though it's much smaller than this, for example, H6. It is very cool space agey as far as the panels are concerned here. The dash, I did not test the infotainment, I did not test the sound, but I saw the computer here in the front, and it's so much better than Haval H6. Specifically, I have one specific example of where it's better. Right front and center, and I probably did not capture it in the B-roll that I'm going to be overlaying here on the screen as I talk to you about Ora. In the front and center, it monitors the lanes ahead. First of all, there was no invasive lane keep assisting that I noticed during my and my wife's driving. Nothing interfered, nothing blinked, nothing whatever. Only just a little bit of warning here and there, but completely what you would expect it to do, right? What I absolutely loved about Ora is what the computer does with the lane monitoring. Here, front and center, it detects actual vehicles that are in front of you. It projects those vehicles right on that little mini screen. For what it's worth, I don't know how useful it is, but it is awesome that it does it. Like, I was driving behind a truck, and there were two light vehicles on my left, and the computer shows me both. It shows me the truck with the truck shape on that little computer there in the central thing, and it shows to me a very like clearly. I know I'm seeing it myself, but let's say if you're looking at what's on your right or what's on your left, it shows to me very nicely all that kind of information. It is so cool to kind of feel that the car is looking out for you in an intelligent, futuristic, almost a little bit way. I personally enjoyed it. I just can tell you that computer, that intelligent driving thing, it was just so good. It was so cool. Now, both my wife and I, we really liked the materials. I enjoy the materials, the robustness of them, and these leathery elements of my H6. In Ora, materials are similar, but it's a lot more elegant. It's probably of a similar quality, I would say, again from my short introduction to it. Nothing is creaking, there is no cheap plastic, there is nothing like this in Ora. And again, space inside is fair. It's a fair space inside, you know, like for a very small family, smaller frame people. Of course, you would not be a massive dude like trying to get an Ora or something, like a small vehicle in general, whether it's Ora, whether it's anything else. I think it's kind of a no regrets statement. It is Speaking generally of EVs, if you haven't driven EVs, and I don't know if all of them are like this or if it's just Ora, I've driven hybrids before, but this was my first experience with an EV, so keep that in mind. I found it super weird that the car does not have a start engine or stop engine button. It does not have it, or at least I didn't find it. We got into it, we put the car into drive mode, and you take the electronic brake off, you press the accelerator pedal, and it just goes. It's awesome in that way. Then you park the car, you put the car in park, that's it, and you exit. You don't it's cognitively weird. It's cognitively weird that you didn't have to do anything like this. So I think driving any EV, including Ora, would take a little bit of an adjustment, like as in all fairness. Did it like bother me? No. It's just both my wife and I, like when we were driving, we were like, oh, that's interesting. That's a little odd. So yeah, that's a little odd. But you get used to it very, very quickly. Very, very quickly. We also took a look at, so say as inexperienced EV potential owners, let's call us, right? At least my wife is. We took a look at how would you charge it, right? How would you charge it? Well, unsurprisingly, there is this contraption in the boot that you can see that basically shows to you very clearly that there is a special cable, there is your normal wall socket plug that you drive back home, you plug this car into your wall socket, and it charges overnight. And in the morning, it probably will take a few hours to charge these EVs. That's cool, but I'm sure that Ora would give us sufficient amount of kilometers under the clock to drive for even a couple of days, or even more than a couple of days, without needing to recharge it. So for city driving, I tend to agree now with people who commented on my earlier video where I was a little unkind to Ora. They said, look, Dimitri, you know what, like, in all honesty, mate, if you have city driving or even the short driving between, let's say, Sydney Centre and, let's say, Central Coast, yeah, or even a bit further away, it probably is still very appropriate, unless you're doing a cross-country marathon in one go in a car. How likely are you to run out of charge? Like, unless you're going from Sydney to Melbourne in one go and you're like, oh, my EV can't do it. Well, no, it can't, but it's not built for it either. So if you sort of get off your high horse, which I admittedly have been a little bit on, or at least came across as if I was, I apologize if it came across that way. This video is hopefully a redemption and hopefully a credit where credit is due. I do like Ora. I do like it. It's not for everyone, but I think it's awesome. My wife, I think, was very positively surprised as she drove it as well. We're both very positively impressed with Ora. I highly, highly recommend that you go visit your local dealership. Again, I'm de facto kind of obviously cheering for my people at Suttons, but at the same time, there are lots of other dealerships of Haval and GWM around the country. Just go take a look. Take a look at Ora. I guarantee it will positively surprise you, unless for some odd reason you're just against EVs, or unless you're a bigger frame person and you know that a smaller vehicle is just not right for you. Well, okay, then it's not right for you. But I was positively surprised, and I hope so will you be. Thank you very much for tuning in today. I hope you don't mind this new, I'm still testing this new format of talking to you as I drive, because I'm kind of hitting two birds with one stone. I get somewhere where I need to be today to buy some groceries, and I'm talking to you, and the quality of the sound from looking at the past video that I recorded while driving seems to be okay. Let me know if you still have something to say or have opinions on this in the comments down below. They're always welcome, and I love talking to anyone who is not a troll. Same as always. Thanks again for tuning in. Give the video a like before you go. I'll talk to you next time about something else. Bye for now.